we're going to have a playoff picture update. We're going to run through each division, and you're going to give me who you think is going to run away with that division, because I believe this might come down to the last couple of weeks in a couple of these divisions.
Yeah, we have a lot of tight races. One of those is not the NL East, so we'll talk about the wild card teams there. But the Braves have that one. So
that is the only one that's like, I don't think there's a chance.
Yep. All right, let's do this.
Okay, so let's get started in the AL East. Orioles or Rays? Who do you think is going to take that division?
Orioles and Rays are definitely the top two teams in that division. Orioles are 66 and 41, the Rays being 66 and 44. And then after that's the Blue Jays. They're 7.5 back. I think this is a race between the Orioles and the Rays. Look, the Orioles, I wish they had done more at the trade deadline, but they've been the team on the trend upwards, and the Rays have been on the trend downwards, playing 500 baseball for the last 2 months. I'll say the Orioles win this division. They did enough throughout the regular season when the Rays were historically good to stay within reach, they
were keeping pace.
They just needed to be within, they never fell like too far out of it while the Rays were on that absurd stretch of games. And then when they started playing 500 ball, the Orioles kept playing great and eased their way back into things, beat the Rays in series, and now here they are in first place. I'll say the Orioles end up winning this division.
So you're ready to go against your Blue Jays beginning of the season pick to win the division?
Yeah, I think 7.5 out, beginning of August. It's certainly possible. It's not crazy. Yeah. We saw what the Braves did last year with the Mets, and they were 10
down to the second to last series of the season.
I'll say the Orioles win this.
Okay, let's move on to the AL Central. Do you think it's going to be the Twins or the Guardians?
My problem here is everybody in this division was sellers except for the Twins.
Yeah.
The Guardians end up with Aaron Savali going to the Rays, who's been fantastic all year long. So getting rid of one of, if not your best starter this season, doesn't feel like the best way to win a division. So if they don't believe in themselves, why am I going to believe in them? They got rid of Josh Bell and Aaron Savali, and I'll take the Twins. The Twins didn't do a ton either, but they weren't sellers, and I've liked their roster in this division for a while. I think they can pull it out and win.
Which is crazy too, to essentially be sellers when a division is within reach. But
yeah, I also think they are under the Guardians are under 500. They're 53 and 55, and I think they had a perhaps fair discussion with themselves of what's best case scenario.
Yeah,
we win the division. Is our team talented enough to win the World Series as it currently sits? And maybe they had that discussion of, no, it's not. So let's sell off some of the pieces that we can get some good pieces for the future and do that. So I think the Twins win this division.
All right, let's move on to the AL West, where it's already a tight race for the top right now between the two Texas teams. Is it going to be the Rangers or the Astros atop of the AL West at the end of the season?
Yeah, so currently they're pretty much neck and neck at the top of the division, right? Yeah, it's a half a game difference there. I'm going to take the Astros here. I liked the Rangers' moves, but as I mentioned often in our trade deadline special episode was, look, I feel like people are treating the Scherzer edition like it's Cy Young Hall of Fame Max Scherzer. And he just hasn't been that this year. His ERA on the season is over 4. Then the start, his first start right out of the gates, that first inning.
Brutal.
Not a great start there for the Rangers. And then the Astros go and add Justin, which they needed a rotation arm. This is what was confusing to me when Dana Brown came out and said, the GM of the Astros, so we're not in the market for a starter. I thought that was a big mistake. They added Kendall Graveman to the bullpen. Was that going to be it? It was not. They ended up adding Justin. That was the piece they needed to get the band back together.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the Astros win the division.
All right, let's move to the National League. And you kind of mentioned this off the top of the segment. the Braves are running away with the NL East. They're a lock for the NL East. So do you believe that anybody else will make it out of this division as a wild card team?
I think the Phillies make the playoffs. I don't think the Marlins are going to get in. Obviously, Mets, Nationals, Mets selling off. They're not going to get in. Nationals are not getting in. I'm going to say, at the beginning of this year, it looked like this could be one of the best divisions in baseball.
Yeah.
I'm going to say at least one other gets in. I'll say the Phillies.
Okay, let's move to the NL Central here. Another fun little race. Reds, Brewers, and then Cubbies going on a nice little winning streak recently.
This has turned into a fun race. A lot of people like to give this division a lot of crap at the beginning of the year for, this division sucks, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what?
It's one of the most exciting.
You got the Reds and the Brewers doing what they're doing. They've been battling it out at the top of the division. And then you have the Cubbies just scoring 20 runs a game, trying to creep back into it. And they have creeped back into it. They're, four games? They're 54 and 53, creeping back into it. I'm going to say, we talked about this one a bit yesterday.
We did.
I don't think the other teams in the division did enough. I will say the Reds win this division. I think their young core mixed with getting Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo back. And yes, they didn't add a big starting pitcher, but since the beginning of July, the Reds team pitching ERA has been one of the best in baseball.
Yep.
And you add back Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, pair him with Andrew Abbott, and then the young core of rookies on offense that are just so fun and exciting. I think they can get this done. And I don't think the Brewers did enough by adding, Carlos Santana. And I don't think they did enough.
All right, that's fair. Let's wrap things up with the NL West. Dodgers, Giants, or D-backs come out on top?
Yeah, I think it's kind of under the radar here that the Giants are only 2.5 back, right? It feels like the Dodgers have been playing great for a while. We were starting to talk about them being the second best team in the NL, the Braves obviously being the first there, but Dodgers are closing that gap. And then you look at the standings, and the Giants are right there on their heels. 2.5. The D-backs aren't too much behind them. Padres, not there yet, but playing much. Padres are playing good baseball, but are they going to get to the division? No, I doubt they win the division. However, I will say that the Dodgers win this division. I don't think the Giants have the firepower to beat them in the division. I don't think the D-backs have what they need to yet. I think the D-backs, this is the first year of them showing who they are and what they will be to come, but I don't think they're there yet. I think they're good, but I don't think they win the division. I'll go Dodgers here.
Okay, now when you're talking about firepower, the other team within this division that has a ton of firepower and are just starting to play like they should have been all season are the Padres. Do you see them kind of sliding into a wild card spot?
That's a good question. If I had to say right now, I'd say yes.
Okay.
I think it's, but at a certain point, it's like, when do you feel like an idiot for continuing to believe in the Padres? And they might make me.
I feel like you need the whole season. I feel like you really got to give them. You got to give them a chance. They could slide in right at the very end. You never know.
They could. And I'm not a huge, there's not a ton of National League teams that are, at the beginning of the year, you thought for sure one of those wild card spots was going to go to the Braves or the Mets. One of those two teams was getting a wild card spot. Well, that's not happening anymore. Nope. The Braves are going to win the division. The Mets are not getting a wild card spot. No. So other than that, where are these wild card spots going to come from? Brewers, Reds, D-backs, Giants, like a Marlins?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Padres are theoretically.
Yeah.
The Padres should get a spot. But man, I feel like I'm going to look back at the end of this year and we're going to be able to put together a compilation of Ben saying at some point that the Padres are going to go, and I'm just going to look like an idiot.
Or they figure it out right towards the end of the season. They sneak into a wild card spot, and then they're the team that just starts clicking on all cylinders during the postseason. So you're saying there's a chance.
Maybe.